Hello everybody, Efren Luna here with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach and with Art, Music and Culture. Today I'm going to continue working on this painting. It's a diptych, an art piece that consists of two panels. I just have to touch up the drawing a little bit and I'll get to the painting in a little bit. I started earlier with that purpose to have more time for painting and try to get it done. So as you can see, it's music inspired. It's a violin, a keyboard. Today I have hip hop beats on the background. Something different. Um, from the other videos, I had guitar instrumentals and then piano and then violin. So let's get to work. So if you're new to the class, you have a canvas at home or a cardboard or something white, like a whiteboard or even paper. If you're using dry media like color pencils, you can use paper. If you want to use paint, use a canvas or a wood panel. So these are the keyboards. These are the black keys. I haven't colored them in black. I'm gonna use paint for that. I may change the colors. That's why I'm leaving them just the outline, so I can maybe color them in different colors. Share the video if you guys know someone that might feel inspired to draw or paint. Just grab a piece of paper. If you're using markers, you can use paper. If you're using color pencils, you can use paper. If you're using paint, you need a canvas or a wood panel, anything that's a hard surface, even an object, you know. So I'm just adding shapes. Like I'm adding circles. Let me zoom the camera a little bit so you can see the design. So there's just shapes. Um, they don't have to be perfect. All right, so I'm gonna just go to the painting part. I'm not gonna get too technical on the drawing. I just want to start painting and have fun. So let's get to it. All right, folks. So if you're watching at home, you can leave the music or put it in mute and just kind of watch and be inspired, or play your own music, or leave a comment if you want me to address certain things. So I decided to make the black keys blue. Um, Obviously, they're black in real life, but this is not realistic. This is a little bit of inspired by real life instruments with a kind of like a surrealist design aspect to it. Because I'm gonna outline it. At the end, I'm gonna outline it with like either a marker or a fine brush. So right now, I'm just trying to color it in, and because this is not realistic, I have a little bit of a little bit of I guess I don't have to be as perfect. I can just adjust things as I go. And so now I'm playing with color, guys. I'm playing with color because I added blue. So I have to kind of think about how, like, what comes next, right? Something that seems to go with the color scheme. There's no pre-plan. This is just like made up on the go. Um, I'm gonna try watering down some paint and see if I can get a translucent look to this. I don't know how that. No, it's not gonna work out. It's too dark. Maybe I mix it with something else. Maybe a little bit of white. I like this blue, but it doesn't spin out. It's still translucent without just with water. I mean, it's like the same, right? It doesn't make any difference. So I'm gonna add a little bit of white. See what happens. I feel like I gotta add more water. Just add more white. I'm just kind of experimenting. So this is like a baby blue, and I'll probably do that for the white piece. Not bad. I'm not gonna add any more paint. I'm just gonna use water and whatever little pigment that's there. I'm gonna try to run it like as if it was watercolor. In fact, I can probably use a bigger brush so I can use more of the I can cover more of the area. All right, let's try with this bigger brush. This brush is too thick, but it's okay. Maybe a little too thick, so I gotta let me experiment with a smaller, medium one. This is like a half inch brush. Probably a good idea to maybe go in between the black piece, in this case the blue piece. But the paint is wet, so I can manipulate it and move it around. There's a watercolor feel to this. So I have watercolors. I'll eventually do a watercolor classes. Those are really fun. And so is this approach. You can already see the difference, right? It stands out really good. And I went over the line. It's like kind of like coloring, like a coloring book type of thing. This particular design. You can hear some of the notes on the background music, and I can almost visualize like what keys. I'm trying to think of what keys will make those notes. So I'm trying to get my mind into music mode. Like inspiration for this piece is it's music theme, and the environment that I'm creating is music theme, right? Your environment is always going to influence your art. Even if you have a plan, in some way, um, your brush strokes or they're going to be influenced, you know. Um, so now I have this long keyboard that's blue. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And yes, you're gonna get paint on yourself, so make sure you are wearing old clothes or an apron. Wash it off right away if you don't want it to stay on permanent, because acrylic paint is permanent. All right.
Money goal? Refinance.
Commercials.
Turn my spare room into
For my music, obviously I'm using free. Yeah, I don't have any CDs anymore. Right, actually I do, but not ready. So this is a nice mix I have. It's basically it's rare underground hip hops from the '90s. A lot of drum beats, a lot of keyboards. I you know. Anyway, so I have a pretty good idea. I mean, it's pretty well covered. This giant keyboard, and I think while I'm doing the keyboard, maybe I'll do another one. Yeah, trying to figure out what color. Yep, I know what I'm gonna do. All right. So this classes are geared towards anybody, not necessarily for someone who's trying to do like masterpieces, right? These are for the regular folks. Anybody at home can do anything like this, you know. But everyone's welcome. If a trained artist wants to join us, and there's always something to learn, right? As educators, we're always learning, right? These beats are pretty mellow, and that's kind of cool because I need the energy to kind of be a little bit mellow so I can get these little boxes colored in. Otherwise, I'll probably just throw paint all over the thing. Um, and I do want the little boxes to stand out. Well, they're actually the black keys, right? But I'm adding color, you know. So you can see how it's taking shape little by little. I'm gonna use that same brush I used before for the other to color in the white part. But now you have to clean your brush because if you're gonna change colors, make sure you clean it and then wipe off the excess water, the extra water. Just take it off with a piece of cloth or a paper towel because if you don't, it'll start to get like brown. And then use clean water. Like this water's already like used with the blue. Use another clean water, you know, to use with your new paint if you're using water to water down. So because I'm experimenting, I'm actually using several palettes. Um, I just happen to have these little ones, that's why. But if you have like a big, you know, like disposable plates, or even like some kind of anything can be used as a palette, you know. Um, it's up to you, whatever you want to use. So now it's gonna be like a red, light red or pink, pinkish, kind of to follow the same design. Just take your time, color this your shapes in, and the paint is mirroring from the darker blue because the paint is wet. But I think that's a little cool effect that we can work with. Like I said, there's gonna be outlines at the end once this dries up, so that's gonna like kind of like sharpen the drawing at the end. So. I just thought about this. What if this was a giant mural, right? Like there's little tiny people walking right here, right? And this is a giant wall, right? That'd be like super cool. what's funny is that these ones are starting to look red. Like I'm looking at the camera, and they kind of look red, but they're not. It's what this color is kind of reflecting on here. Um, it's kind of cool. It's like a visual effect, like something that happens in the brain. Like this is not red. This is actually gray. It's starting to look reddish. Um, all right, so I'm gonna try switch up the colors, or just add a different color.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, stop on the top of our show.
So right now I'm blending the red with the yellow. Kind of like a little, what do you call this effect? Basically it's a blend, like a gradient blend. not perfect. I'm not sure that this dark area is working. So maybe I'll take it out. You can just like wipe it off with the wet cloth if you just while the paint is wet, reveal some of the lighter. This is the part that the chin rest for the instrument. I'm not sure that that's working that dark, so I'm gonna actually make it light. Add a little bit of white. I think it goes better. Alright. So this shapes, I'm just trying to throw color to see what kind of feel they give me. See if they feel right. Like I like the vibrancy of the color, how bright it is. Like I said, I'll tighten up the edges at the end, and once I find the colors that work, that for visually that look to my liking.
So bring it on. Bring it on. So bring it on.
So I'm just experimenting with colors, see how they feel. The idea is to start adding color and kind of going from there. I don't know if I'm gonna keep any of these colors. I may change them, and if I'm not satisfied, and that's kind of like the creative process with something like this, where you just kind of making things up on the go with a basic idea or with a basic theme, in this case music, right? So we have the violin, we have the keyboards that are kind of moving around, a couple of shapes and things like that. So we'll keep adding color and see how it goes.
So bring it on.
So one of the things that I did to make a green, I added yellow and blue. I have a bottle of green, but I wanted to be resourceful, and sometimes you get better colors when you mix them. Better in the sense that that they don't resemble the color from the bottle. They kind of have a, when you paint a lot, you can tell sometimes, when you can tell the name of the color if it's not like mixed with anything else. Sometimes, at least other artists can tell. But I mean, if you want to use it out of the bottle, that's fine. I just wanted to give you a tip that sometimes you can, be resourceful and not waste paint, as opposed to washing it off, letting it go to waste. You can create another color with two colors that are left over, as long as they're primary, because primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And with those colors, we can make secondary colors. That's like a whole
Take a
kind of
bite
like
of
a
Fire Best Self.
beginning.
Taste a deliciously rich
That's a
yogurt
beginning element.
along with penguins.
A lot of you guys already know, but some folks don't, so it's important to point that out. And if you are into the arts, you can get you a color wheel, something like this. This is a little bit too fancy. It was donated to us, so it's nice to use as a reference. But you can see the primary colors are on a triangle here. Got red. Let me face that right to the camera, because set my brush down. Okay. So we have red right here where my thumb is. This one, and then green right here. I'm sorry, red, yellow, and blue. So it's like this, like a peace sign, right? Like red, yellow, and blue. All right, and those are primary colors. You mix yellow and red, you get orange, right? You mix yellow and blue, you get green. You mix blue and red, you get violet. So these are nice, resourceful. You can also just look at a picture on Google. You don't have to buy one, but if you want to have it handy, you can buy one or make your own. Making your own is kind of fun. It helps you. It's when you study art, they make you make your own. Like that's part of like the only colors you're allowed to use, I guess, are the primaries. Then you have to create a color wheel. And not all the color wheels turn out precise. I mean, it looks like simple, but it's challenging. It could be challenging, but but with practice. Anyway, so those are little exercises you can do to sharpen your color skills. Create your own color wheels or your own color samples. Mixing your own paint. There's a whole class called color theory. We're not going to get into that, but that's something really cool. All right, so I need clean water. I gotta change the water. So you gotta use clean water every time you switch paints. It's a good idea. Otherwise, your paint starts to look muddy. Like this green would look like brownish, like with a hint of brown. So clean your brushes as you go. I'm using like a lot of palettes, but I'm not using a lot of paint. It's just because they're so little. But this is what we have here, so. So this green's really nice, and I made it up with the leftover paint that I have here. So now this little vines kind of look like a plant, huh? Like little leaves from some kind of plant. That wasn't the intention, but that's it's kind of like what's becoming, huh? Now this yellow little dot started to look like a corn. I'm just thinking out loud, you know. That wasn't the intention, but you know, but that's what's. I guess since lately I've been rescuing plants, so maybe that's why my mind is thinking of the nature, you know. This is definitely like a green that resembles like grass or plants, you know. Chlorophyll, right? That's what what's cool is that it looks like one painting, but they're two paintings. I mean, it's one art piece in two pieces, right? A diptych, that's what it's called. Um, I just happen to have two same same shape or same size canvases. So I figure let me do something uh, with both of them at the same time. So these are kind of like flames, but once I put green, they become like grass. Like that's one thing I wanted to mention about the temperature of color. And you're probably thinking if you know like what's you know what does temperature got to do with color? It's I guess a metaphor, right? Because physically they're not the same temperature, or maybe they are. I don't know scientifically, but as far as visually, the green makes you think green makes you think of like grass, right? Like of plants of the ground, right? Where it's cool, you know, like a um, cool field of grass, you know. Like you walk on the grass, it's cool. You walk on the concrete, it's like hot, right? Or and then the red makes you think of fire, right? It resembles like fire and something burning, like flames, you know. So that's how like it references the feeling or the you know the feeling that the color gives the viewer like automatically you think of something cool, you know, like blue ocean, water, you know, sky, blue sky, you know. And there's variants of that, like it's not like 100% certain variants. There's certain variants of blue that are warm, and I guess I don't know. There's a little bit for every, you know. Colors are amazing. There's like so many. I don't think the human eye can see all the spectrums of light. Wow, this thing's taking a life of its own. I'm gonna take a little. I'm gonna step off from the painting You can see what it looks like from a distance. Wow, it's almost an hour. It takes a little while. So I'll probably do another hour, or depending on how I feel. But I'm very satisfied with how this is coming along. Notice the difference. Let me see. Let me show you another sample. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of other examples. They're actually the paintings I did before, but there's a big difference. Before I show you that, before I show them to you, I want you to focus on the white part, or just think about that. Like this canvases were pretty much a blank canvas. I mean, they are recycled. There were other paintings there before, but I primed it with like white primer. Right, so essentially I started with the white canvas, if you want to look at it that way, right? Whereas the other two that I showed you, I started with a panels. These are panels that already had paint on it. They weren't finished paintings. They were kind of like just paintings that people had started and the material was donated. So I kept some of the color and kind of play with it and made my own design over that and kept some of the underlying colors. And this is very, very abstract, like even more so than this one. I mean, the canvas one kind of looks like more like graphic design, like illustration type, whereas this looks more of a like expressive paintings, and they're both diphthix, right? That means they're two pieces that this you frame this, spray it with some clear coat or some protective spray, make it look really nice. The same here. This one needs finishing, in my criteria, but you frame them nice and neat, and they'll look really cool. Um, you can frame them separate, and then you just hang them together like at a distance, and kind of have the little pair. Um, Anyways, I wanted to show you the difference. And this is the same thing. You can frame this too. Um, and hang them together. I wouldn't frame them as a one big piece because I would frame them separate. But that's just because I figured if I wanted to frame them together, I would just get a different panel. But as far as the sign, they work really well because you put them on separate parts of the wall, and they kind of connect. So they it's kind of like matching paintings. Something cool you can use for decoration. Um, you know, a lot of the art, well, some of the art ends up in the Goodwill, and sometimes it stays there for a little while. And anyway, so if something you can hang up, you can do any kind of art, for any purpose. So this there's a little piece right here. It it looks like a little face, right? Like a little orange head. I don't know if you can see that. Just thought it was funny. Here, let me show you that. There you go. A lot of shadows. There you go. That looks a little bit better. It's like a little face. Anyways, some people they get inspired by just by random things, like this. I can start putting a face in here, or a heart or anything. Um, like when you start looking at the clouds and you start to like C shapes, and they, you know, they change as you stare at them. You know, something like this could do that. Like you can develop some of the shapes into something else. You know, and that's kind of like the fun with this type of project. All right, so right now I'm kind of stuck as far as to what to do next. Um, I don't want to just throw color randomly. I want to have a little bit of thought process. Let me see. Try this blue here. I gotta find a better playlist. Let me see. All right. All right. So I'm gonna go with orange. I'm gonna go with orange. Orange keyboard or orange black keys. That is, black keys are gonna be orange. I added a little bit of white and it's starting to look like a little pale, opaque. I should probably use a smaller brush here, but let me just play with the idea of like little dots. Even the shape of the board tends to. I like the feel of this brush. All right. Wow. I still got to color in it's not the white. It seems like incomplete, right? So I gotta start coloring in a lot more.
Yogurt smooth enough to squeeze down. Friday best self. Unbelievably lactose free.
All right, so.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $100,000.
All right, let's add more color to the orange. Let's see the orange keys. Actually, I wanted to make this orange, like light orange, but accidentally I put it here and it stands out better. This tends to get like the drawing starts to get lost. But when you put it with the yellow, it stands out. So I'm glad I found that out before I painted. All right. Kind of like starting to look like a rainbow, huh? A little bit. But that's okay. Actually, it looks nicer from the computer monitor than from the phone. It's all my phone. It's a smart technology.
I'm not fucking about, and that's what you mean fucking about. Oh, what you mean what? No, just don't fucking just. Yeah.
All right, let's
What's wrong with you?
All right, folks. I'm gonna take a break. I may do another live video later today to continue the artwork. But I'm very satisfied with this an hour 10, hour 12 minutes so far. Um, I'm really liking the how it's coming out. So I'm gonna take a little break and then think about what I want to do next. Um, Maybe I'll do another live and start working on the other pieces, but I'm definitely taking a small break. I may or may not come back. If I do, you'll get the notification. You can watch at your own time, replay the video as much as you want. Remember, there are over 40 videos now created since the beginning of the pandemic that you can watch on the library for the Cultural Alliance through Long Beach. You can rewatch those videos, and there's like so many paintings. In fact, I'll put the camera up. I already showed you a couple of them, but let me show you just in case you're new. Just in case you're new to, so let me show you back there. All those pieces were done during the pandemic. Um, all of those, all of that, from the guitars, and then the other ones I showed you earlier. Yep. There's a lot more. There's smaller drawings and things like that. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy the video. Share it if you think someone might be inspired to do something like this, or just do their own art. These classes are designed so that anybody can do art. They're not necessarily for professionals, although they're welcome to join us. And a lot of times, as like people, we're always learning, right? No matter what our skill level is, there may be one or two things that they may learn, or that I may learn from, from the comments, or maybe even from like watching your uh, your result or your paintings. Anyway, so enjoy the video, share it, and I'll come back do another video maybe today, or maybe later, or even tomorrow. Also stay tuned for tomorrow, or not, or just look out for tomorrow. I'm gonna do a music video, so I'm gonna try to wrap up the scales, major scales, the five positions. There's one more I gotta work on, and then we'll be done with that lesson. Anyway, so Efren Luna here with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach, with Art, Music, and Culture, and see you next time. Take care. Peace out.